Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photography talks. Today I want to talk about a book, specifically The Story of Kodak. So I find this, it's written by Douglas Collins. I find this at a thrift store, same bookstore that I've talked about in the past, $1.50 for their hardbacks. And this book, The Story of Kodak, how can I not pick that up? It's a gigantic book, it's heavy, and it talks about the history of Kodak and how they started, and it goes through all of the different films they've made and the different cameras. And it's probably a pricey book, but if you find them at thrift stores used or at used bookstores for not too much money, this is a book that I'm going to really enjoy, because the Story of Kodak is like a history lesson in photography in America. You know, they were like instrumental in changing the face of what photography could be. And there was actually a Kodak factory here in Colorado, just north of me in a town called Windsor. There was a Kodak plant. And I'm told that folks used to go, you know, people who around here would work there, and some of the stories I've heard are incredible. Like, here's one funny story. A guy was saying one summer, his father worked for Kodak, so he got a summer job working for them, and you would work in absolute darkness. You had to work in darkness if you were working with film, because any light would fog the film. He said at some point there was one little bit of safe light that was on in the room that you couldn't even see the fixture where it was coming from. Like, they had it built into maybe a part of the wall, and it would take about 30 minutes, he said, for your eyes to adjust to the point where you could barely see what you could, see in front of you. But when you would walk into that room from outside, it would just be pitch black, and you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. And he said it was an interesting experience to work there for a summer, because you were literally working all day in the dark. And you would have these 12-foot sheets of film that would be rolling, and if one got snagged and had to be replaced onto the rollers, you had to do it all in the dark. He said they would play tricks on each other. Somebody would go out to go get something to eat or go use the restroom, and what they would do is they would go sneak into their area, close the door, and then just stand there. And then that person would come back to work, and about 30 minutes later, once they got their dark vision back, they would see somebody standing there and freak out. It was a good little practical joke. And he said you would often see people going to the restroom or going to get something to eat, holding a hand over one eye so they could keep the dark, being used to the dark to that eye, so when they went back, they wouldn't have to start from scratch. Fascinating to think about. When we think about making film, we don't realize that there were people working in the dark to make it. And these guys were local, and they were working right here in Colorado at the Kodak factory. And I think that whole complex has been turned into an industrial park. They don't have, it was called the Kodak industrial area. It was the whole thing was like their Kodak campus. Now it's just a bunch of different businesses. But I'm fascinated by the history of that, and Kodak has been such an instrumental element in photography, certainly for us, especially as film photographers. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. We'll talk photography again tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.